Hello everyone, and welcome to another of my wildlife patrols. Where I'm standing, if you're familiar with the parish, you'll recognise it. If you're not, I'm currently standing in Bascote Heath. I'll just turn around to give you context. It's Bascote Heath Road, and here in the trees is Long Itchington Wood, or otherwise known as Upton Wood. And down in the distance there is Bascote Heath itself. So it's a short one, just checking out an area between here down what we call Thorpe Roughs towards Stoneythorpe and the River Itchen. So come along and see what we can find. Right, walked a short distance down Bascote Heath Road southwards towards the Southam Upton Road, which is just down there a short distance, 300 yards. But aim today is to head in this direction. As you'll see, notice there about COVID-19, which we'll be observing carefully. This applies to all public footpaths, wherever you may be. And our plan will be to head down this footpath here, which we'll show a plan in a minute, and see what we can find. Now we just walked into the small meadow here. What you see here looked very distant a couple of years ago. This was once just a grass paddock for grazing horses. But land has been taken over HS2 and planted for wildlife mitigation purposes as part of the wider scheme to construct a new railway line. This area has changed, reseeded with wildflowers, and to be managed as a wildflower meadow. As you can hear and see, it's looking not too bad. So we'll walk on through, see what we can find. Plenty of thistles and long grasses. So there's some controversy obviously with HS2. Which is a splitting opinion. But this area has also been planted up with some trees. You can't see them here, they're hidden in the back. But unfortunately, after they planted them, many of them, about probably 70%, died because they didn't want to water them, and have since been only patchy replacements since. The back box there, sometimes used by wild birds. See, there's Long Wood behind us, and then we'll head down here along the footpath along the edge. So this is looking rather good now. This must be ceases of efforts. So once it was done on an industrial scale, large machinery. But you can see now it's looking rather good. Long-term management, though, unfortunately, is uncertain, because though this has been planted on HS2. It's unclear who is actually going to manage this long term and ensure that it remains a wildlife friendly meadow. But it's always these things, it's for HS2, it's always hard to find out the information, because they always be slow and forthcoming. But fingers crossed that what's been done here will be looked after, and as wildlife warden I certainly hope I'll keep an eye on it. Try and ensure that that's the case. So I've been a volunteer purely, I have no powers as such. So anything I recommend or I think I need changing can only be put forward to the parish council. And then it's up to the councillors then to make the proposals. But hopefully we won't be requiring anything like that here. Anyway, we'll carry on walking down. You hear in distant background the sound of the main road. It's too far away. And so I have to get a bit further on. You see glimpses of the trees ahead. But just over this hedgerow here on the right is the Bascote polo grounds. It's a large extensive area for playing polo. There are pavilions. There's a restaurant here as well as parking. And they also undertake events and other commercial activities here. So, now if we look through the gap there, we'll see where we're heading. And, across there to the trees in the distance. Just pan round. See there's quite a sizzle of insects in the grass, which is lovely. So it's lovely down here, and I hope it will maintain this way. So we'll move on. See how the rest of it's looking. back again. Meadow grounds in the grass there. Move on. Put path runs on the edge. This is how this other field used to look. Open grazing. As you can see around the edge over there, HS2 have planted more wildlife mitigation. There's a strip of trees and wildflowers being planted along the edge of this field, heading all the way down into the distance there. Turn around, see the part of the polo grounds. Continue down. Quite long. What I do like about this is all the number of oak trees and ash, which I think are particularly lovely. And yeah, always set this little bit apart from the polo grounds next door. Some note here, if you look through the gap in the hedge here. There's some hoarding around, there's a white strip in the distance. That is an enclosure formed by HS2, which will become a compound and also a diversion for the main road to Southam when they begin tunnelling under this field here, which will then pass across where we just walked and under Long Itchington Wood to pop out at the far side. This is, works are ongoing for that, the preparations, and still several years off before completion. So, move on from there. It's worth noting that whichever side of the fence you sit on HS2, its outcome is not certain at this present time, with an application for judicial review going through the Courts of Appeal as I speak. Probably by the time this video gets published, we may know the decision that whether HS2 will continue in its current form or will require a reassessment. Whether you agree with it or not, you have to ensure that a project of this scale is done properly and is kept under control and is accountable. As a wildlife warden, I though approve and welcome any wildlife mitigation that may come with it. I cannot say I actually agree with the construction itself, as that will be environmentally damaging as it goes through ancient woodlands, nature reserves, and sways the countryside. In parish Long Itchington, we've been lucky. Only brushes the edge of us, with the tunnel forming the main part, cutting across the southern tip of the parish. Right, here we are. This is something worth looking at. A little hole in this tree, this oak tree. See, probably somebody living in there. A tree of this size. It's like a small city, as far as what I'm concerned, with high numbers of insect and bird life being supported by it. So one tree, such as this oak tree, is hugely important in terms of wildlife habitat. And if you multiply it by a whole wood, you can just see the magnitude, the importance of mature oak trees and others such as ash are to our environment. So you mess with them at your peril. But these will seem to be alright, and hopefully they'll continue for many years yet. So carry on. Some moles in here. Yeah, quite big ones. Good. Just peer over the fence. That's nice looking field, this one. Which one is very attractive, this small little valley dropping down towards the Itchy. Featherbed Lane, up on the crest there. It's always a wonderful spot to be. We'll carry on. Yep. where Dad's person has been more busy. Polo Grounds also own these fields. As you can see, there appear to be building something in here. As you'll see further, unfortunately, the countryside is subject to development. You can see here buildings or pavilions being constructed, and I'm afraid it can erode the countryside with excessive development. As we'll move on. But, landowners are entitled to do what they want with, as long as they get permission. And hopefully it'll be what they do is going to be sympathetic to the surroundings. And, will be something that that person can be proud of. As we move on. Here's Thorpe Roughs approaching. The trees are on the tree line over there. Head on down to this corner. The unfortunate one side effect of some of the works here is these large pavilions that have been constructed here in the middle of the countryside. As you can see, depending on your aesthetic, you either love or hate these. But ever encroaching. What is a rather nice spot. But there we are. Personal opinion, don't really like it, and I wish it wasn't here. But here we are. Job is done. But just always concerned that unsympathetic development in the countryside can have a detrimental effect on the landscape and also the wildlife present. So, enough of that. Move on. Pine. So you don't see as many pine trees around here, so it's unusual to see some. It's mostly dominated by ash and oak up here on the top. Right, there we are. Thorpe Roughs. Turn around, there we go. So I must recommend coming here in May, springtime, as this is a classic Bluebell Wood. What you see here is just carpeted in blue. Always wonderful time of year to come down here. I'll see if I can put some pictures up from previous years, just to get an idea of what it's like in here. And it's certainly worth the effort coming down here to have a look. So, the Bluebell Woods are one of our country's finest wildlife spectacles. And something that British Isles are especially well known for. But, so every Bluebell wood you find is something to be cherished. But also have to put a word of caution that if you want to have bluebells, please make sure you pick the right variety. There are two. There's the natives, there's a small delicate blue, dark blue leaves, petals, and there's the Spanish bluebell, which comes in a variety of colours, but with a wider, more bell-shaped flower head. And we don't encourage the Spanish because it has a habit of hybridising with the native species, so diluting the wildlife value and threatening the long-term viability of the native species. We'll keep going. Right, more buildings on Bascote. This is a quite busy, heavily developed corner of their site. Another pavilion here, there's also a restaurant here, as well as conference facilities, function rooms, etc. A little bit incongruous in my mind, but it serves the polo ground as well. Right, comes to the end of the roughs. unfortunately now the modern world now the modern world impinges now upon us. The sounds of machinery and air conditioning running. Transport at the moment as we come out of the woods. So we'll continue on. And down. So just reinforce the fact that the views I'm expressing are my own, do not represent that of the Parish Council of Long Itchington. Right, just walk down a bit further, just looking back where we come from, across the access tracks and the photo grounds, into the horse paddocks. There's a residence. We'll work our way across down into the corner and get close to the river. This field is quite handy, as it shows, if you can't see, a ridge and furrow. And earlier in the year, this is full of buttercups. So we'll move on now. This is all what was once the parkland for Stoneythorpe Hall, which is hiding in the trees ahead of us. So we'll head on down now towards the corner. We'll pick up another footpath, take us to the river. Walk our way along. See one of the lodges, Weir Hall, and the small spinney over there. Looks chimney, and Southam lies beyond the hill in front of us. In the corner, see all the clover hiding in the long grass. Lovely side, good source of nitrogen for grazing. So, the footpath passes along the edge of Hope Line. We'll now follow the other one that comes along in this direction. Right, we are down by the river, the Spikey Oak, overlooking it. Turn around through the meadows and the edge of the grounds of Stoneythorpe Hall. And see it poking through the trees over there. Nice old hall, dating back to the 16th century. And you see some nice fine oak trees in its former parklands. Walked into the trees here, turn around, see we're surrounded by water. Call the birds and insects. Yeah, another interesting spot, this is the site of Stoneythorpe Mill. I believe it's mentioned in the Domesday Book. There's an old mill location here right on the edge of the parish. Move on. And here is the mill pond. Always lovely. It's full of wildlife here. You can hear the birds. And the insects sizzling. Just move along. Let's go look at the water. Attractive spot, water lilies, rushes, willow herb, fine array of grasses here. Here's a great spot to spend time, very peaceful. Looking across the meadows. Yeah, what's that? I think fish are jumping. Let's see if we can spot them. Maybe hard to do. Probably can't see that. There's a shoal of fish moving around just below the surface. And those reeds and lily pads. Yeah, and there's lots of fry. There's actually thousands of them. So I think everything's looking pretty good here. We'll just keep going till we get to the end. A bit further up, you might be able to hear the sound of running water as we approach the Weir. Some reeds and grounds as a whole beyond. So we'll look a bit further up. So, getting close to the edge now. That tree line there is the river, and when we come to this corner, we'll reach the end of the parish. Of course, at the end of the walk, you can continue. There's circular walks that take you into Southam. Right, walk through the gate, and walk the path here. Let's take us up to the Weir. Maybe not. Finally, we've reached the river. Let's see. Too bad here. Some years it does get blocked with fallen trees in it. But at the moment, looking pretty good. As I say, I do think there's opportunity would be a good place for otters. Places are high. Turn around for the Weir. The willows here, dapple sunshine. Great spot. Well, this is the limit of my jurisdiction. I'm standing in the middle of the river. So the grounds of the Stoneythorpe rise up beyond. The house, can't quite make it out from here, but close by. And footpaths continue across the field there in the direction of Southam and the Holy Well. Also, I'd like to say, if you want to find out more about wildlife activities in Long Itchington, we have our website, longitchingtonwildlife.org.uk. Also a Facebook page for Bascote Road Community Nature Reserve. All activities there. And between the two, you can find the latest news. Plus we have bulletins on the parish council email bulletin service, and also in the parish wildlife news section of the parish diary. So, thank you.